what are some ways that you incorporate sports that maybe somebody who's not a sports fan, like you were saying before, in these corporations can understand and kind of relate to their job and how to, mentally prepare for whatever it is that they need to get done?
Okay, so I'll give you, this is kind of a fun one. I wouldn't say this is more of the scientific side of it, but this is kind of a fun example. So I was doing a team program for a marketing department one time. And marketing people are so creative and they're just like bursting with ideas all the time. And everybody's busy, right? And so they're taking a full day out of their schedules to meet with me and, do some kind of planning. And every time we have a break, it's okay, we'll take 10 minutes, go to the bathroom, get another drink of water, whatever it is. And I come back up to the front of the room at 10 minutes and everybody's still on their phone calls and on their emails and talking amongst themselves. And I'm like, I'm not going to be the substitute teacher here. I'm not going to be like, okay, everybody, let's go. And so I just kind of stand there and wait and smile a little bit. And people are like looking up and they're going, oh, okay, we have to be quiet. And I mean, this goes on all day long. And so finally, kind of near the end of the day, I'm standing there and I've got my little presentation remote in my hand and I'm just watching everybody. But something about it, just as I'm standing there, I kind of do this. I don't know if you can see my hands, but
Yeah.
I do this, which is kind of like a pitcher doing what we call coming set. So like when there's a man on base, the pitcher, instead of being out of the windup, he's got to go out of the stretch and he brings his hands to the set position. When he breaks his hands, he's either got to go to the plate or he's got to throw to the base to try to pick them off. And so I find myself coming set. I don't know why, but it just gave me this idea. And I was like, hey, do you want to hear a fun story from the big leagues? And everybody stops and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so you probably know about stealing bases and maybe you know about picking off a runner or a pitch out or something like that. But there's another technique that we use, and we call all this controlling the running game. And so this technique that we use is called holding the ball. And it's as simple as that. Actually, I have a baseball right here. Um, it's as simple as that. All you have to do is hold the ball. And so the pitcher gets up on the mound and he comes set with the ball in his glove and he does nothing. He just stands still and does nothing. And you wait to see if that runner flinches a little bit. And you basically do that to upset everybody's timing. And you do it until the hitter calls timeout. That's all you have to do. Stand
Love it.
there. You can't do it anymore because of the pitch clock. But this was a technique that we used for decades in baseball, and it's just called hold the ball. And in practice, in spring training, we do all these different moves for pitchers to practice them, and they can't do it. They can't stand still. It's the hardest thing for them to do because they want to move. They want to do, like, they've got all this energy and excitement. And so it's just like stand here peacefully, don't move. And they can't do it. And so the lesson that day we were talking about was like, for me, that became something that I did in my speaking was, again, early on in my career, if I would ask a question to the audience, I would say, who knows the answer to this question? And I'd stand there for a little bit. And if I felt like nobody was volunteering, nobody was willing, it wasn't even a hard, it was just like nobody wants to say anything, then I would answer it for them. And I hated myself for that. I was like, at some point, I decided I'm going to hold the ball here and I'm going to wait. If I ask a question to this audience, I'm going to stand here just like this and I'm going to wait until someone answers. I don't care how long it takes. And there was so much more power in that. I had much more control of the room when I did that. And so I explained that whole thing and all these, marketing people who are all not just marketing people, they're managing teams and there's lots of people in each of their departments. They're going, we need to do this with our people. We're answering questions for our people. We're over managing them. We need to be patient and hold the ball. And it turned into this slogan that became like the moment of the day was, if we want our people to grow and if we want our people to develop and we want them to fail a little bit and even figure some things out for themselves, then we can't answer the problem all the time. We have to let them figure it out themselves. And so that's an example of just a simple little moment in baseball that turned into this really valuable lesson with this marketing team.